For many of you guys watching this video right now, Dynasty is probably your favorite game mode, and it'll be the first thing you dive straight into when you finally get your hands on College Football 25 in July. That's why in this video today, I'm going to be just looking at some of the best challenges for Dynasty to add some spice to it. Once you've kind of played through your regular saves, these challenges will make it more fun and add some more difficulty if you become too good at it. The first one I have on this list is one that I actually created and one that I mentioned in an earlier video, and I call it the Notre Dame Challenge. Basically, you start a Dynasty with Notre Dame, right? But you have to make your schedule literally as hard as possible because we know they're independent, so their schedules can be whoever they want to be. So you need to schedule Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. Notre Dame already has a good solid base already. Like, they have a good program and a good team. They haven't really won anything, but still, that's what's going to make it hard, is when you're playing these good teams week in and week out. And they've talked about the wear and tear system. You know, it's coming to College Football 25. So that could be a very good twist on it too, because if you're playing the best of the best every week, your players are going to get just dunked on every single week. So you'll have to stay on top of things and make sure that everything is okay. Unfortunately, that's the only one that I actually made up out of my own brain. So the rest of these I kind of scoured the internet for and found them online. So credit to whoever made these. But I have the Offensive Coordinator Challenge, which it isn't very self-explanatory in the title, but basically what it is you become an offensive coordinator for any school. It doesn't matter. Obviously, if you want to be a bad school and make it harder, that's up to you. But you have to only recruit defensive players. And hear me out for a second. When you basically get these recruits into your program, you have to flip them to an offensive position that best fits their skills. So quarterback is going to be almost impossible, but wide receiver is probably the easiest one. You can get D-line, flip them to O-line, but that's what you can do. You cannot recruit any offensive players. You have to flop their positions when they come to your program. And obviously, I don't know how the editing player system will work in College Football 25, but we can assume you'll be able to flip positions because that's a pretty staple thing, I guess, in Dynasty modes. So this challenge will be next to impossible to actually get any wins with. But if you are a hardcore player and want to try it out and are bored of the standard Dynasty modes, then this challenge could be very fun and also just funny to see these players that have basically no idea what they're doing unless they played some other position in high school go out on the field and try to win games as an offense. I think the best strategy for this mode would to have, DBs as your quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, and then just run triple option, read option, jet sweep, stuff like that. Don't even bother throwing the ball because we all know a safety can't throw it at all. The next one I call Fresh Team, which basically says you have to cut every single player every year. And the one thing about this one is there might be a cut all button, which I highly doubt that. It will become very tedious very quickly, but if you're down to put in the work, this would be a fun challenge just for the fact that you have to deal with a brand new team every single year. You can't, develop players. You just have to put out there whatever you have, whether it's walk-ons, you recruit some players, but still, the majority of your team is going to be walk-ons. So this challenge isn't really one that I expect to win the national championship with, but if I get 6 wins, I'll be very, very happy because this challenge would be next to impossible. So I guess it is what it is. Next up is the Iowa Challenge. It's more of a kind of gag one, I guess, but it's basically where you have to bring Iowa to become the most efficient and the most productive offense in all of FBS. So a very, very steep task. You can be the offensive coordinator or the head coach. It doesn't really matter, but it's not like you have to win a national championship. Once you achieve that, which is probably harder than a national championship, that's when the challenge is over, I guess you could say. So you could always try to speed run this or whatever you want to do, but I don't know. Iowa's offense is horrid, as you probably know, so this challenge would be very, very hard. So I know the first couple have been pretty hard, but this one is a little bit toned down. It's called the Random Letter Challenge. Basically, you go online or whatever you want to do. Find a random letter generator or pick a letter each year, and you are only allowed to recruit players that have that letter in their name. Or if you want to make it even harder, you can say only have that letter as the first letter in their name. So if you roll an X, you can recruit Xavier, or if their last name starts with an X. I don't know any last names that start with X, but you get the idea, right? Every year you can randomize a letter, and that's what you're limited to. So if you get something like E, you're pretty much set, and it's basically a standard year. But something like Z, well, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get actually good players. Another challenge about recruiting restrictions is I just call the shortest team, which basically says you can only recruit players that are under a certain height. So if you want to make it hard, you go 5'8". If you want to make it go medium, just go 6 foot, because then you can have very short O linemen and all that good stuff. I haven't really dug into it that far, but this one is fun for just a very straightforward one that you can tell your friends about and they'll understand immediately. But that'll add a twist to recruiting, make it harder for you to get good players, especially in like the tight end and O-line like I mentioned earlier. Running backs though, you'll be pretty good unless you're recruiting Derrick Henry. The next set of challenges I have are ones that you have to implement in the actual game. So if you sim games, then click off this video now. But for the people that go into each game and put their hands on the controller and control the players, which is something I like to do personally, these next 4 or 5 challenges are for you. So with that being said, the first one I have is a single play every game. You can use 4 verts, make it random if you want to, but 4 verts would basically be a cheat code in 14. I do that basically anyway, but halfback dive, it could get boring, it could be fun. You could do a different play each game or one play throughout the whole entire season. So it's really impossible to put a limit on what you can do with this challenge. There's a lot to work around with, but I just want to give you guys ideas that you can implement however you want to when the game actually finally comes out. The next one is playing a whole season with your kicker at quarterback. This would be impossible unless you run triple options where you never keep it with the quarterback, but it's similar to the one where you have to flip positions from defense to offense. Your quarterback play will be non-existent. You can throw maybe slants, it depends. Sometimes in past games the kickers have had some good throws, but I highly doubt they'll have kickers be any good at throwing more than 20 yards downfield. So I don't know, this one is pretty simple but pretty hard, and it might get old fast, so I wouldn't know if I would actually suggest this one. I'm just throwing it out there. The next challenge I have is where you must do a lateral every single play. Wherever it is in the play, you have to at least try to get a lateral. Obviously, it's up to you. If you don't get it, that's fine, but you must try to get one, and if you don't, then run out of bounds or something. But it makes it a lot harder, obviously, if you have to throw it into traffic behind you every play. So who really knows exactly what would go on with this challenge? On to the next one. Your whole defense will be punt or field goal block or both. Punt block, at least you have a man deep if they want to throw it, or get past all 10 guys on the line. But this would be fun. You've always run field goal block against your friend when they're running. So I don't know, maybe you could run this against Air Force or Army, one that has triple option, but this is just kind of a stupid one. And finally, the kind of opposite of that is fake punt and field goal for every play on offense, where you have to run fake field goal pass, fake field goal run, all that good stuff. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, make sure to come back for more videos, and I will see you in the next one.